The real problem started when he became a danger to himself. He couldn't be left on his own. He would leave the cooker on or wander out the house. Oh, those months were hard. I wasn't getting any sleep. I didn't want to admit that I wasn't coping because I felt disloyal. Oh, it was an awful Christmas. I didn't want to say anything, but I knew we couldn't go on. I was at breaking point. This is the whole family. Our last Christmas together as a couple. Wasn't long after Christmas we tried to get some help. But it was all so complicated to set up all the forms to fill in. There are so many different services, and to be honest, I felt bewildered by the whole experience. I didn't know who did what. And then eventually, when the carers came, it seemed to be a different person every time. And I had to start at the beginning, telling them what Jack needed and so on and so forth. Eventually, it reached a crisis. I just couldn't go on. I did have some help during the day, but I still wasn't getting any sleep at night. So we all sat down and discussed it. In the end, there was no other option. Jack had to go into a care home. That first home was a disaster. Jack was booked in for respite. It had looked excellent, it was brand new. Oh, but he just wasn't happy. Neither was I. They never asked him what he wanted to eat. They just gave him a plate of food and told him to eat him up, and they chastised him if he didn't, as if he was a toddler. And when I came to visit, Jack, I often noticed he had food down his shirt. I would ask them for a clean shirt, because Jack always liked to look smart. Well, the staff, they would just roll their eyes at each other. I know they thought I was being difficult, but I wasn't. I wanted to ask them, what would it be like if it was your father or your husband? Is this how you want him to be treated? I never did, of course, just in case there would be any further impact on how they treated Jack. The social worker said we could look for another care home. We found a much better one. The staff treated him very well. But he was such an easy person to get on with. He didn't give them any problems, and they had a lot of affection for him. Oh, they were very good. When he was able to walk about, they would take him out and they would do things with him. In the beginning, I could also take him out. But then more and more you find it increasingly difficult. Jack seemed to lose interest in his surroundings, and he gradually became frailer. I would sometimes talk to him, and I didn't really know if he actually knew who I was. This is what hurts so much when someone has dementia. You start to lose them, little by little. You find that when you're trying to talk to them, you don't get any response, and you both get frustrated. Him because he can't answer you, and me because it feels like a one-way conversation. I stopped trying to talk to him, certainly over the last year, or last 9 months of his life. I would visit early in the morning and take the newspaper in. I didn't sit across from him. I used to sit beside him. Used to help him with his breakfast. Because by then he needed to be prompted with his eating. Sometimes he didn't know what the cutlery was for, or he would fall asleep during his breakfast. I used to go through the paper and I would read it, pointing things out to him and not expecting him to answer me. Just showing him perhaps a photograph or something that was in the paper. And I would have my hand on his arm. Just have the contact there. with that, he was quite content. He was happy. And basically, well, after about an hour, he would have had enough. And you would have too, because you don't know what else to do. I would look around and I would notice many people in the same situation. TV would be on. No one would be watching it. I remember feeling very sad and very lonely.